Well, I'm let's get back to the more of the ritual, but just packing her in, and I like to travel light, and but heading off to the next town, it was a pretty good gig. It was an afternoon gig today, actually. So the trouble didn't begin at 8; it began at 2. But anyway, it was a good gig, in the movie The Gladiator, Proximo said to Maximus, the gladiator, said, I don't doubt your honor and I don't doubt your integrity, General, but me, well, I'm an entertainer. Anyway, so packing it in there tight, and then packing things in there tight. Got a bit of a rainy night here in Missouri. I'm in Glasgow, Missouri. I'm leaving a gig right now. Just basically, the bottom line is just go town to town, man. Just go town to town and stay in cheap hotels and cheap hotels. Fine with me, man. Motel 6 or whatever the heck you want to stay in. But anyway, packing it up here, and let's see. Get my car started up and say adios to the to anybody out there in music land. But you see, here's the thing. I started playing music when I was 12 years old. I started performing. I'm 57 right now. Okay, this is 2011. I'm 57 years old, so that's 40 something years, I guess. Well, that would be, I don't have the math on me, but and just performing professionally for decades and decades and decades. After a while, you don't think about it, you just do it. And you travel and you go. Sometimes you're exhausted. You got to fight boredom. You got to fight exhaustion. You have high. Sometimes the gigs are so great, you just have such highs. And then other times you just it's a dud of a gig. But one of the things about when it's good, when it's really good and you're on, and sometimes you're doing your own stuff you've written, or just other people's stuff, there's really not much of an experience you can compare it to on the face of this earth. So I'm leaving, and town to town, baby, town to town. Trouble begins at 8. See ya. Yeah. Sure. So your brother recommended me. Huh. That's cool. He heard me in. You say you heard me in Kansas? Oh yeah, Lawrence.
Rocket Kirshner is a professional musician from St. Louis, Missouri, who has been a recording artist on his own label, Splinter Records, for 30 years, with national press coverage and TV.
When I was a kid, I remember when last time
he hustles his own work.
I was a kid.
So why is this singer, songwriter, guitar slinger more infamous than famous?
Yeah, right. It was great, man. It was cool. It was survival trips and YMCA stuff. So you got a private party on New Year's Eve. Well, I haven't booked New Year's Eve yet, but I gotta book it. So. I could do the song I wrote. This is kind of my theme song, folks. It's called Be Yourself. Musicians want to be movie stars, and movie stars, they want to play guitars. Everybody wants to be someone they ain't. Painters want to learn to write. Writers want to learn how to fight. Fighters want to learn how to paint. he's single again, and a single man's got a marriage plan. People without kids, they want one or two. A dead tire trucker wants to get off the road, and a man in jail wants to break out and go. We're all looking for a different point of view, and everybody wants to be somebody else. The grass always looks greener after the snow melts. Go ahead and do your thing, quit grabbing for someone else's ring. Be yourself. How does one compare a wonderful song? You know, you compare it, sometimes people compare it to like, people compare Fellini's movies to a good meal. My comparison to a wonderful song, no matter who wrote it, listening to that song is like a lake. You know, you look at this lake and it's beautiful. You know, you can take it in and you can relax to the lake. And when you listen to a song, when you're just sitting there by yourself with a few friends listening to a song, you know, but when you get into performance art, performing live, and the song becomes alive, the performance art, the song itself is like a river. That's right. The song turns into a river. It starts as a lake, like I said before, and that's great. I'm not saying one is superior or inferior to the other, but I'm saying that once it's performed, you see the movement of the river? And it's moving. It's in your face. There's motion. And, you know, a lake is beautiful. It sits there. A well-written song is like a lake, like I said before. But this is the movement. This is well, you know, they talk about it in classical music as a movement, but it doesn't matter what kind of music you're talking about. The fact we are talking about is performance art makes a song become alive. It rolls. It's a river. Old people just want to play golf, and professional golfers, they want to get raw. The president wants a night out with his wife. And guess what? His wife wants to be president, and a Protestant wants to practice Lent. Sometimes a banker doesn't give a damn about a cent. Everybody wants to be someone else. The grass always looks greener after the snow melts. Go ahead and do your thing. Stop grabbing for someone else's ring. Be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. Who else can you be?
Hi, Mark. Mark, I'm Pam, and I'm doing a film on Rocket Kirshner and on what it's like to be a performance artist for small venues. And I know that you guys have formed a band called the Titans, and I'd like to know what goes into a Titans performance.
Well, probably the first thing that goes into a Titans performance is 31 years of knowing this guy.
Oh, wow.
I met him in early 1981 and quickly became buds and hung out and jammed a lot, played a lot of music. And over the years, various incarnations of both my bands and the bands that he had, we'd often cross paths and hunker down at the end of the night. Just sometimes we meet at bars and have little late night tete-a-tete, things like that. Mostly just the fact that the guy is just a wealth of information about music. He's typical to his personality. He's very well researched and pulls that stuff out of his backside that nobody else in the world would ever think of.
about a place I know. When the neon lights start to lose their glow.
Just go ahead and go all the way, go through the whole thing one time.
Okay.
And let me just, I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and click record anyway, just on the chance that we get a take, even though this is really, I'm just watching a level. We
Okay.
might, we might end up with
We've done that before.
That's, a lot of studio engineers and
let tape keep
producers say, roll the tape.
Are we rolling, Bob? Remember on National Skyline?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been using that line for 40 years now.
Oh, I love it.
Is it rolling, Bob?
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay.
Let's see, what do I have to do here? I'll give you a count. Or you give a couple beat count, and then I'll just give you a
2, 3, 4. Let me tell you about a place I know where the neon lights. Let's do it again.
okay, hang on a second.
Well, maybe we can hear back and,
Well, we could listen to what we just recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do
Can we hear
that.
the big speakers?
Just the 30 seconds or so of it, or 15 seconds, whatever we got there. Okay. This should put it on the speakers.
Let me tell you about a place I know where the neon lights.
What?
Is my voice too loud?
Let's give you a little more volume here. Let's listen to that much. That's a good check on it.
I think my voice sounds a little louder than the. Well, we've talked about this before.
Well, it should be above it.
It should be. Yeah, I don't want it to tread water, but.
Let me see what we got here. I'm going to switch the monitor to 3 here. It's going through a little
2,
preamplification.
4. Let me tell you. Come on back here to the storage space of my little record company that I started in 1983, which is almost 30 years ago. It's called Splinter Records, and so I'm this completely autonomous individual artist guy. Anyway, this is my storage space area in my apartment, and I have my own. I record, put up my own money, record, which isn't much, and record a new album whenever I get the money, and then basically I do the record. And then, which doesn't take much time in the studio because I work real fast, and then so it doesn't take much money, and then I have it pressed and shipped here or pick it up or whatever over the years, depending on where the pressing plant is in the country. And we're in 2012 right now in March, and this is my new album called Soup's Up. And I just got a good review on it, and it just was hot off the press. It came out in January, and it basically I don't sell my CDs like I didn't sell my albums vinyl before. I have them at my gigs. People can take them freely. I don't want any barriers between me and my audience, and people donate, and I print more. It only costs $2 a CD to print, so it's not much. And my tip jar is there. When you're singing songs off your records. When you're singing them, people go, well, I like to. Do you have? They always ask, but if it's sitting right there when you're playing, So this is my recent stuff that I picked up. Should be about 250 here, and then I'll pick up another 200, 300, 400, 500 copies, and it goes on and on and on. So it's a mom and pop. It's smaller than a mom and pop. Mom and pop store, man. It's just me. That's it, But I have to come up with it all, just like I had to come up with my gigs on the calendar. I have to do the gigs, write the songs. If you want your total artistic freedom in recording, that's the way you got to do it. You just got to do it and bypass everything. I don't do. This is an important point. which I want to make. I don't do record stores. I don't do any of that stuff. You know, I just bypass everything. So anyway, we're leaving right now.
I would call them one of the first generation Texas songwriters that people have been paying attention to for a long time. Speaking of generations and songwriters, I'm happy to welcome to the studio Mr. Rocket Kirshner, who I've probably known longer than I've been doing radio here, I think, more than likely.
Well, good morning to you, or good afternoon. I guess it's good afternoon, right?
Well, it depends on, your frame of mind.
That's right.
Or afternoon.
Well, for musicians, noon is morning, so anyway.
Well, there you go. So we're in your early morning period.
That's right. Yes, we are.
Well, that's good. You're here. You got a brand new CD that you've recorded. I don't know how many you got now. I mean, I can't keep track of how many things I have, but do you have any idea how many you recorded now?
Well, I started in 1983 with I just don't know, man. I mean, I got a lot of them. I started recording in 1983. My first CD on my own record, little dinky record label, Splinter Records, and pretty much.
What, Little Dinky wasn't available? You couldn't get Little Dinky as.
No, you could because because it got Billboard recommended it, so that opened all the doors to a whole bunch of stuff, and it did really well. And plus I'm gigging all the time, so I was all over the place. Just New York and L.A. and everything in between, and so yeah. And then consecutively, almost each year, I'd put an album out. Then there'd be spaces now. But this last record, I hadn't put a record out in 6 years. The one I did 6 or 7 years ago was live at Missouri Theater. So it has been a while, and it's really a good feeling to have something out fresh. 2012, it's a new year, and it's, to be totally frank with you, it's a year that is totally pregnant with politics and the Mayan calendar and apocalypse and all that, and this record has nothing to do with any of that, which I thought was kind of interesting. Just is completely opposite of anything that's really going on in the world.
So you took a hiatus of about 6 years, and you come up with some. So
no, it's not a hiatus.
Hiatus of recording and releasing a piece.
Right, because I had to finance my own stuff if I want complete artistic freedom, and I will settle for nothing less, and so I just have to save the money up, basically.
So what?
I'm always gigging.
What made you make these songs make the cut for this disc, which is entitled "Soups Up"?
Well, a lot of the songs were recorded a long time ago, and then I had new stuff that I had written, and they just all sort of coalesced into a general theme of the concept of mobility, exploration, and which we'll get into in a couple songs here, and just the whole idea of that mentality of the inner journeys, the outer journeys, the inner blah blah blah, and everything just coalesced into that, and then you have to go through the mastering process, as you well know, of taking all these different recordings in different places, because I recorded in all these different studios. The last one was at Lee Ruth's house. One in Jeff City, one in St. Louis, one in Columbia, and then you go through the whole mastering process of get them all equalized, and make sure they all sound somewhat on the same plane and level.
So.
Quentin likes slide guitar. Is that true, Quentin?
Oh, yeah.
sing-along crowd.
This is made from
Sing along with Dale.
yeah. Okay, here's you. Whistle that.
You gotta taste it.
This is rum and whiskey.
Oh, I love it. But only a little bit. Rum and whiskey. Yeah, don't have to like
Has he got any
drinking
kick
in
to it?
Irish.
Turn around.
No.
Hey, Pam. We're having fun.
I'm driving.
Come on, try. Just
It's good, John. Smell of the apple.
Talking about Jesus Christ in nightclubs between sets is a tricky thing, but I do it. Down drinking at the bar. You're down drinking at the bar. You're down drinking at the bar. I can't hear you. You're down drinking at the bar. You're down drinking at the bar.
Hi, Rocket.
Oh, hi.
I've been told that you're one of the most prolific songwriters in our area. And I'd like you to talk to me a little bit about writing songs and what the process is and what you do.
Well, I am prolific, but that doesn't mean that all the stuff is great. I mean, by any means, I would have to say that I've written I've the way it works is kind of the 100th monkey. You figure, if you write a lot, something's got to come through. That's decent. So for let's say every 10 to 20 songs I write, one of them's going to be really, really good. Then you got a couple that are passable, and the rest of them you kind of, if you do it long enough, I have a lot of songs. There's so many different things that I write. I mean, and I can only speak for myself, not other songwriters. Lots of times, first of all, when it comes to songwriting, you have to you have to learn to work around life, because life gets in the way of songwriting. But then the conundrum, or the paradox in the situation is, without your life, what would you have to write about? Mark Twain said, write about what you know. In my case, I write a lot on themes that are going on in my subconscious. I would say that primarily I write on titles. Like, I'll get a title of a song in my head, and oh, that's a good title for a song. I'll write it down and put it away, and I'll have a whole bunch of different titles. I like song concepts. Probably one of the best songs I ever wrote, which I got to sing on nationwide TV on the Nashville Network, was called When You're Young. And the process of that song was really interesting, because I had the concept in my head. I was in my early 30s, and I'd realized that I'd burned my youth up. And my youth was completely burned up. So I wanted to write a song about that. But I tried to force write it for 6 months. And it was just not, And one day I woke up. One day I woke up, and I had a really bad hangover, like 6 in the evening. It was one of those all-night parties. And the song just dropped on me. And I was like, but I was at somebody else's house. I didn't have a guitar. So I had to get back to my place real quick. And what came out was, you don't care what the boss demands. You don't care about a piece of land when you're young. When you're young, you don't care what the so on and so forth, you know. You know, and then the chorus is, you burn up time and you burn up love. You burn up the world and the heavens above. When the ashes fall, you can no longer run. And it's then that you realize, when the mirror shows you an old man's eyes, every boy has his day in the sun. Whoa, when you're young. So it's that kind of a thing. Well, they'll pop you for drinking on a tricycle. You know, they'll bust you for boozing in a motor vehicle. You may be wearing the red, white, and blue, but Mr. Someone hit a breathalyzer in your canoe. You need to know, as a matter of course, that you can't get a DWI on a horse. You can't get a DWI on a horse. Well, they'll take you downtown for guzzling gin on a raft. And if you're drinking a beer in your lawnmower, you just violated the Patriot Act. You think you got away without a trace? The story behind Horsepower, the song, goes thus. We are in Higbee, Missouri right now, and I guess it was maybe a couple summers ago, I don't remember, but I played here, and he told me, hey, these guys are going to come up with horses, they're going to drink, they're going to leave on their horses. I thought that was kind of cool. Then I saw him 2 weeks later at his winery, Cooper's Oak Winery in Boonville. And I asked Matt, I said, Matt, I'm going to replay this out. By the way, this is Matt.
Hi, Matt.
He runs this whole winery and everything, Cooper's Oak. And if you're ever in Higbee, this is a great place. And so I asked Matt, I said, Matt, I was just joking, can you get a DWI on a horse?
Not to my knowledge.
And
I could be wrong.
And there was a city councilman there too. Yeah, and he was like real adamant, no way, and all this. So I thought, ooh, I'm gonna.
You know, all I heard was you can't walk your duck down Main Street on Sunday at noon or something.
Yeah, I'll have to write a song about that too.
Right.
But anyway, I decided to had the title in my head. Then I had the chorus in my head some time later, and then one day the whole song just kind of popped out. So if you're wondering when you're listening to this song, Horsepower, that's the story behind it, succinctly.
Hi, Spice. Hey, sweetie.
Thanks, Matt.
Oh, no problem.
Would you whinny for me?
She was.
Can you whinny for me?
She was a whinny.
She had an itchy nose there a minute ago. What a pretty girl. Are you the designated driver?
Perfect! Oh boy. How you doing, Pam? Hey, I've just been over here, trying to keep the phalanges in shape.
All right. Sutu Forte is a classically trained pianist and a Juilliard graduate.
Oh my God.
She musically came from a very different world than Rocket Kirshner.
Oh yeah.
This all begs the question: how did they begin to relate to each other musically and teach each other about their different worlds?
feel like there should be a soundtrack to it as you're reading.
When and how did you meet Rocket Kirshner?
Oh, it was one night in September of 1994. And I was sick, but the phone rang. And I said, hello, how can I help you? And this voice said, I'm a friend of your roommate's brother, Gordon Frank. He says, you know how to play the piano. Well, I play guitar. I thought maybe we could get together. And I thought, well, I'm new to Columbia. I don't know anybody. This sounds like a good thing to do. And mamma mia, I think we were on the phone for an hour the first time we were just talking, just meeting. But you know, I saw right away that his passion is music. And it's not just music, it's not just buying CDs and listening to them. It's like going into the history of the composer and really going from one opus to the next, meaning one piece to the next, seeing the whole breadth of the life of the composer. He surprised me recently giving me a book about Robert Schumann, and it's written by Robert Schumann. Robert Schumann, that's in my league, you know? But Rocket believes, just like the famous Duke Ellington said, there's only two kinds of music, good music and bad music. Not blues and classical, not jazz and reggae, good music and bad music. And Rocket is devoted to good music.
Across the wide Missouri, the world seems to come alive. There's beauty in the woods everywhere you look, and mister, that ain't no lie. When you're standing on top of them bluffs, the world is within your reach. But nobody lives, nobody lives, nobody lives in Times Beach. Times Beach is a town in Missouri, the St. Louis dumping ground. There's toxic waste everywhere, you could say it's a wasted town. I don't mean to ruin your day, and I don't mean to preach, but nobody lives, nobody lives, nobody lives in Times Beach. Clean this mess up. Came so close so many times, but now they're out of luck. Started to clean that town up before the contract was breached. Nobody lives, and nobody lives, and nobody lives in Times Beach. Nobody lives, nobody lives, nobody lives in Times Beach. Nobody lives, nobody lives, nobody lives in Times. Times Beach.
You know, I gotta tell you, I've had a very rocky relationship with my mother over the years. We finally come to terms. She's 76, retired in Florida. We finally come to terms with each other. I guess it's a truce. She's always wanted me to be a success. But anyway, a few years ago, we had lunch. She came down and we had lunch, and she said, because my father passed away years ago, and her and her husband came down, they were lecturing me. She always lectures me. They get out of the way, you know. And she said, you know, you here you are, you're in your late 40s and mid 40s at the time, and you have a 12-year-old son, and basically, you're a bum. And I said, I stopped. And I said, you're right. She said, oh my God. She's thinking in her head, I'm finally getting through to him. I said, this is a perfect title for a song. She goes, no. I didn't say that for you to write a song about it. I said it for you to go out and get a real job. Well, this is more real than any job you can imagine, folks. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something else. Not only am I a bum, but I procreated, so look out. I'm a bum. Yes, I'm a bum. Somebody pass me a bottle of rum. I don't care what the neighbors say. I'll be a bum till the end of my days. I'm a bum. I'm a bum. I am a bum. Don't need your churches or your schools or your institutions or your synagogues or your mosques or anything else. Don't need a one doggone bit. I'm just gonna sit on the curb and watch the cars roll by and quote the poetry of T.S. Eliot, 'cause I'm a bum. Yes, I'm a bum. Somebody pass me a bottle of rum. I don't care what the neighbors say. I'll be a bum till the end of my days. I'm a bum. I'm a bum. I am a bum. You say you don't like my half-shaven face, my hearing, my attitude. You don't like my white bucks or my hair. Let me tell you something, mister. You're not gonna like my socks. You're sure as hell not gonna like my underwear, 'cause I'm a bum. Yes, I'm a bum. Pass over that bottle of rum. I don't care what the neighbors say. I'm gonna be a bum till the end of my days. Count on it. I'm a bum. I'm a bum. I am a bum. This one's for you, Mom, if you can hear me. Don't look now, but there goes Rocket Kirshner playing his guitar. I think I'll go over and sit on his car.